Today we are making a video on Garuda Linux 2023.05.01. This is the edition version. So here is the boot menu of Garuda Linux, and this version is a try to ignore that because that's the sound of the Linux distro. It's not from me. So as you can see, so again it is coming from the Linux distro. It's not from me. So this is the boot menu. To boot it in a live boot, let's quickly click on boot with the open source drivers or boot allowing proprietary drivers. It's clearly up to you to choose. So I'm going to choose the open source. So again, it's going to take like a maximum of 1 minute or minimum of 30 to 40 seconds to load up the desktop layout. I'm running it as a virtualization, which is a VMware with 80 GB of hard disk, 4 GB of RAM, and with 2 processors. So this is a KDE Dragonized gaming edition. So most of the people downloaded this, so I downloaded this to make the video. So if you want the other editions, just comment it down. I'm going to make the other editions of this version, which is 23.05.01. So it's always a good option to live boot first, because if you downloaded the latest version of the latest Linux, if you downloaded the latest Linux version of the Linux distro, just live boot it first for up to 2 to 3 hours. Use it, and if you didn't find any bugs or errors, go with the installation. Don't just download the latest version and install it directly, because there should be some of the bugs in the Linux distro sometimes. So it's it will be helpful if they have bugs. It's going to save your PC. That's the reason I am going to give you this tip, because I don't want you to ruin your PC just by downloading the latest version and installing it directly. It's always a good option to live boot. So again, it's going to take a few more seconds to load up the desktop layout, and we should be seeing our desktop completely loaded. It almost took like a 40 to 50 seconds, I guess, but the time it says 1 minute 8 seconds 9 seconds at the bottom of the screen or the monitor. And I forgot to mention that I will be posting 2 videos daily without missing any day. So I already posted another video on the YouTube. If you want to check that out, you can check that out after watching this video completely. So again, it's taking a lot of time, so let's wait a few more seconds and see. I think it's completed, I guess, but it's back again. It's almost like I guess 1 minute, I guess. And here you can see there is a mouse pointer, and you should be seeing a mouse pointer with a highlighter, because I set it up in my screen recording like that. I'm not seeing a highlighter, I'm just seeing a mouse pointer. And as you can see, here is a Garuda Linux logo, which is a KDE Dragonized gaming edition. And we should be seeing our desktop layout completely loaded in a few more seconds. Just a few seconds. It almost took like a minimum of 1 minute 15 seconds, I guess. I'm not going to edit, or I'm just going to delete the unnecessary part in the beginning, just like 10 seconds. So the other should be the time consumed should be there. So if you want to get the exact numbers, you should be getting the exact numbers for how much time it takes. If you ask me roughly, I'm going to say it's a maximum of 2 minutes. It should take a maximum of 2 minutes to completely load up the desktop layout, like the logo loading, all the things, boot menu, all the things. As you can see, here is our welcome screen or a desktop layout. And still few more seconds to load up completely. Just like 10 to 15 seconds, I guess. Still more to go. About welcome screen, its version is a soaring, so let's cancel. So let me close this thing, and here is the desktop layout. And the desktop environment is a KDE Pasma. That's the reason it took a lot of time. Wine is here, So let's quickly change the display resolution because it looks pretty odd. And it automatically changed the resolution because I'm running it on a VMware. So if you want to change the display resolution, you just need to click on the right mouse pointer or a right click on mouse, and you should be seeing a configure display setting. You can change it there. So I clicked on it. I'm going to show you the resolutions, how to change the display resolutions. It is taking a lot of time to load up everything. So my monitor is a 1920 into 1080, and here is the transition of how jelly it looks. So you can choose your display resolutions here. If you can't see the text size or a font size or the icons, just change the global scale up to 120 or 150% with a 1920 into 1080. That's the best option. So let's go back and check the about the system. And the latest version of a KDE Pasma is a 5.2.27.4, and the latest framework version is a 5.105. Qt version is a 5.15.9, and kernel version is a 6.2.3. The latest kernel version is a 6.3. So graphics platform is a X11. This is my CPU hardware information, and this is the URL or the website, official website is the GarudaLinux.org. So let's first quickly open the system monitor because we need to check out how much resources are consuming before running any apps. And I'm going to open the system monitor again at the end of the video, so you should be having an exact numbers of how much resources are consumed. So that will be helpful to you to judge to use this Linux distro or not. So right now it's almost 1.5 or 1.6 GB of RAM usage, and the CPU is also around like under 25%. And here are some of the information of the Linux distro. As you can see, CPU is going crazy. RAM is almost 1.6 GB of 4 GB RAM, which I already mentioned. I'm using a 4 GB of RAM, 8 GB of hard disk with the 2 processors. So under the applications, these are all the applications. Under the history, as you can see, there is a high graph here and there, not constantly, but occasionally there is a high peak, like a few seconds of gap, and here is a high peak again. So it's clearly up to you to judge it. So I'm going to open the system monitor again at the end of the video. So let's check out other things. The processors right now, it's going to take a few seconds to load up everything. So these are all the processors running right now. Let's check out the about system monitor. So 5.27.4. Let's close this thing. Let's open the terminal monitor, not the terminal monitor, terminal. Let's go to the system and let's open the terminal, which is a console, and let's type in few commands and get the distro information. So neofetch is already launched, or some of the information is already launched. So let's type in the command, which is initramfs-sv8. So this is the command which will grab complete distro information. Let's scroll it up. System, under system, it's a host Garuda Dragonized Gaming Edition. Kernel is a 6.2.13. It's a 64-bit architecture. Compiler GCC version is a 12.2.1, and the desktop environment is a KDE Pasma with version 5.27.4, which I already mentioned. TKQt version is a 5.15.9, and VT version is 1. Distro is Garuda Linux based on Arch Linux, and it says VMware because I'm running it on a VMware. BIOS Phoenix version is a 6.00. and RAM consumption is here, as you can see. And this is my CPU information. If you want, you can pause video and check that out. Let's scroll it down, and graphics VMWGFX version is 2.20.0. Display is a X11. Server is a Xorg version 21.1.8. XVLAN version is a 23.1.1. So these are all the monitor resolutions or the display resolutions available. API OpenGL version is a 4.1. Mesa is a 23.0.3. So let's scroll it down. Wire Plumber and a Pipewire version is a 0.3.70. So here are some of the information. If you want, you can go through this information. And I'm using a 80 GB of hard disk for my VMware, so it's showing 80 GB here. So let's scroll it down. There's a lot of options here, so let's quickly scroll it down. So the processors running right now, again it's showing. Let's scroll it down. Process running right now are 228. Uptime is 8 minutes. Wake ups are 21. Init systemd version is a 253. And compiler GCC version I already mentioned. Shell fish version is 3.6.1. Bash version is a 5.1.16. Console is INXI 3.3.26. So let's type in some of the commands, which is neofetch. Click on Y. We already had the neofetch information, but let's try to download it again. It's going to take a few more seconds and you should be having our neofetch available. So instead of waiting for this, let's minimize this thing, and let me show you how to download the Garuda Linux latest version by launching the web browser, which is Firefox. But this is a customized Firefox version, which is FireDragon. So it's not completed still. So we should be seeing our Firefox in any second. It didn't launch again. So it's taking a few more seconds. So let's check out the version of FireDragon, which is a Firefox. The version is 112, 64-bit. So let's close it. So homepage or the URL is GarudaLinux.org. So let's type in command, which is inxi. Let's type in another command, inxi-b. These are all the same information as the above one, but it's in a short form. That's it. There is nothing different. Let's type in another command, which is inxi-G. Let's type in htstop. Here is the RAM, here is the CPU, here are the tasks. So we completely got every information. Let's close this window. So this is the URL of a Garuda Linux. So there are plenty of editions available here. You can choose on your own. I'm choosing the Raptor Eagle latest version. Click on download. So these are the system requirements or the minimum requirements for the Linux distro, and the username and password is a Garuda on both sides. So this is a Garuda Linux KDE Dragonized edition, and these are some of the other editions. So here is the normal edition and here is the gaming edition. You can choose it any edition you want. So these are the mirrors, torrent and a Cloudflare. And here are some checksum. So the version is a 23.05.01, which I already mentioned in the beginning of the video. So we already downloaded and making the video. So this is the file size, which is around 4.1 GB. So I'm using a VPN, so it's pretty slow for me. So let's close it. So that's the download process, and that's the website. Let's try to install the Garuda Linux. I'm going to show you the installation process. By double clicking the installer, it's going to launch it, and it should take like a few seconds to load up. Here is our installer, which is a Garuda Linux soaring installer. Again, it's a Calamares installer 3.3.0 alpha 3 for Garuda Linux soaring. So let's maximize this thing. Again, this is the same installation step, or this is the same installation style in every Linux distro. So there is no complicated things in it. So first we need to choose your language. There are plenty of languages available. Click on next. You need to choose your location. I'm using a VPN, so it says Singapore. You can choose the pointing option or the drop down menu option. So I'm choosing Los Angeles, America on the location. You don't need to provide your actual location, you can give anything. And there are some customization here. You can customize it if you want. Click on next. Here is the keyboard. You can choose your keyboard and the language here, or you can test it here by typing. Click on next. Here is the partition. You need to be very careful while choosing this, because it's going to delete the current operating system and it's going to install the Garuda Linux as the main operating system. So this is a single boot and this is a dual boot option. You can dual boot, going to choose this option if you want. I'm choosing erase disk, and there is some options here if you want to choose it. If you want to encrypt, you can encrypt by providing the password in the boxes here. You should provide the password, same password in the two boxes. So that's the encryption, and here is the bootloader location. This is the automatic and the best option. You can customize it later by choosing the do not install or bootloader location. It's clearly up to you to choose anything you want. Click on next after choosing everything. You need to provide your username and password, and write down the password and give the strong password, because it will be safe. So you don't need to provide your actual name, you can provide anything you want. If everything is going good, you should be seeing a tick mark beside the box. So for the sake of the video, I'm choosing a simple password, which is a 12345. Give the strong password and write down the password, because if you forget the password, it will be helpful in the future. So after choosing everything, click on next. Here is the summary of what you chose in the previous steps, and this is the option which will happen after clicking on install. The installation time will take up to like a 5 to 10 minutes, or maximum of 5 to 10 minutes, or minimum maximum will be like a 20 minutes, or minimum like 5 to 10 minutes. It completely depends on your PC. If you have a low-end PC, you should be having like a 20 minutes of installation process. If you have a good end PC or a mid-end PC, it should take like a 5 to 8 minutes. It completely depends on the Linux distro and the system resources. So after installing, it's going to say finish, and you need to reboot your system, and you should be having your Garuda Linux 23.05.01 edition as your main operating system, or a dual boot operating system. If you choose the VMware, it should be installed on your VMware or your hard disk. It's clearly up to you to choose. So that's the installation process. So let's close it. And again, I'm going to mention it again, even it's annoying. Always live boot first up to like 2 to 3 hours. If you are satisfied, go in the installation later. So that's the tip from me. So let's check out some of the desktop features, like date and calendar, internet, disks and drives, volume, clipboard, wallpapers. Let's check out the desktop wallpapers. So Garuda Linux always gives best wallpapers. The folder view version will be 3.0 as usual. So there are plenty of wallpapers available. As you can see, you can customize it on your own. I'm going to change the wallpaper. For example, let's open the abstract, and let's check out also the version of the file manager, which is a Dolphin file manager 23.04.0. So this is a Garuda welcome. Some of the shortcuts, if you want, you can go through all these things, like a system cleaner, partition manager, software manager. Let me open it again. So the version of the Octopi is 0.14.0, Qt version is 5.15.7, Pacman version is 6.0.2. So let's close this thing, and let's see what are the pre-installed apps which comes with the KDE desktop environment or the Garuda Linux. So these are all the apps which comes pre-installed with the Garuda Linux 05.01 2023 edition. Heroic Game Launcher, Hestop. So this is completely for the gamers. So I am not going to open every app because it's going to take ages to completely show you. So for the sake of the video, I'm just going to end it here, because we almost covered everything, so no need to show everything. So again, it's a KDE Pasma desktop environment, and the mouse pointer will always be crazy. So there are all good games like Mario. That's a lot of people's 90s kids favorite games. So these are all the available apps which comes pre-installed. So we covered everything. So let me open the system monitor and end the video. So let's open the system monitor and check out the resources right now. It's almost a 1.9 GB. We didn't open that many of apps, just open few apps, and it's almost a 1.9 GB. If you have a 2 GB of RAM, it's always a good option to skip the KDE desktop environment and choose the other lightweight desktop environments if you want to use the Garuda Linux, like LXQt, LXDE editions. So it's almost a 1.9 GB. It's almost like a 300 to 400 of MB more. So CPU is here. So these are the history, applications, process running right now. So I think that's it for the video. So let's end the video. I already posted another video because I will be posting 2 videos daily. If you want to check that out, you can check that out after watching this video. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. It helps make a good content for you. Other than that, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace out.